If you've never gone through the trademarking process before, one of the things you're probably not expecting is how long the whole process will take. Now, the timing varies from trademark to trademark and from country to country, but if you expect your trademark to register in a matter of hours, days, or weeks, you're in for a real surprise. I'm Andrei Mincov, and in this video, I'll walk you through the stages of the trademarking process and give you an idea how long it might take for your trademark application to go from filing to registration.
Get it trademarked with Trademark Factory.
All right, let me quickly outline the process first. It all starts with you filing your trademark application. In most countries, it's done online. And once filed, your application gets a timestamp and is assigned a number. With that, your application will just sit there for months before the trademarks office assigns one of their specialists to review your application. And these specialists are typically called examiners or examining attorneys. In some countries, this period takes a couple of months. In the US, it's usually 3 to 4 months. And the situation is really bad in Canada, where this period now takes close to 2 years. If you're lucky, the examiner will approve your application right away. And just so you know, this happens for less than a third of applications. And if you filed your application yourself, it happens for less than 20% of applications. So what happens in most situations? Well, the examiner will identify problems with your trademark application and issue an office action. We have a separate video where I talk about most common reasons your trademark application may be rejected. Make sure you watch it. If you get an office action, you will typically be given 6 months to respond. Then, after you respond, a few weeks or a few months later, the examiner will review your response and either approve your application or issue a new office action. And again, you will have 6 months to respond. This back and forth can go on for years, and it often does when there are multiple office actions issued. Now, assuming you finally convince the examiner to approve your trademark application, it will then be published for opposition purposes, which will give the public an opportunity to ask the trademarks office not to register your trademark. In other words, first you need to convince the trademarks office that your application is registrable, and then you need to survive possible attacks from the world, from anyone really, who may feel that by registering your trademark, the trademarks office will be violating their rights and legal interests. The opposition period ranges from 1 to several months from country to country. It's 30 days in the US, it's 2 months in Canada, it's 3 months in the EU, and so on. The good news here is that oppositions happen very rarely, in less than 1% of the cases. But when they do happen, and that's the bad news, they tend to take a long time and cost a lot of money. We call them an atomic bomb that almost never goes off. Now, if your trademark is opposed and both parties, both you and the opponent, are willing to go all the way and fight this all the way, you can easily add a year or two to how long the whole process is going to take. Assuming your trademark application survives the opposition period, it will then be allowed. And at that point, there might still be some post-allowance formalities you need to satisfy before your trademark registers. In the US, if you filed your trademark based on intent to use, meaning that at the time you filed your trademark, you weren't actively selling products or services under your brand yet, you must demonstrate to the trademarks office that you have commenced using your trademark in commerce, meaning that you're now offering to the market all products and all services listed in your trademark application. Until you show evidence of such use, your trademark will not register. You're initially given 6 months to show such use after your trademark is allowed, but you can request up to 5 extensions of time, each time for another 6 months, which may take a total of up to 3 years between the date of your trademark is allowed and the date it is registered. Several countries require the payment of additional post-allowance registration fees, and in many countries, once your trademark is allowed, it will automatically proceed to registration. So that's the trademark registration process in a nutshell. As you can see, the most straightforward process where your application is approved right away, is never opposed, and does not require any post-allowance formalities will still take close to a year. And once you start adding complications such as office actions, post-allowance statements of use, or God forbid oppositions, your trademark can take a very, very, very long time. That's why we always tell brand owners to file their trademarks as early as humanly possible, because you never know when you're going to need your registration. And from our experience, if you urgently need to get your brand trademarked, it's usually already too late. Once again, while you never know exactly how long the whole process is going to take, one thing is for sure, that it will take a long time. So if you see an ad that promises you trademark registration in 15 minutes, no, they are lying to you. Chances are they won't even file your application in 15 minutes, let alone get it registered. Currently, our anti-record for the longest time it took us to register a trademark for one of our clients is 4 years, 10 months, and 26 days between his filing and registration dates. Almost 5 years! He bought our all-inclusive package for us to file his trademark in Canada. We went through hell and back with all the office actions, refilings, more office actions, cancellation proceedings, more office actions due to changes in Canadian law that happened in between, but we finally got our client what he paid us for. And the client never had to pay us a penny more than he paid us at the very beginning, 5 years ago. I'm afraid to even think how much money we lost on this file, but we're super happy that we managed to deliver on our promise. So now that you know what the trademarking process entails and how long it takes, you can have proper expectations for what it really takes to get your trademark registered. If you're serious about protecting your brand with a guaranteed result for a guaranteed budget, book a call with one of our strategy advisors who will be happy to answer all your questions. And if you're just here to learn more about trademarks and the trademarking process, make sure you subscribe to get notified whenever the next video goes live. And until then, I will see you in the next video.
Yeah.